You know what? I think we should just start it right there. I forgot to hit start recording for the last 25 minutes that Martia and I have been talking. So we get to restart this from scratch.
Yeah, why not?
Oh my. Oh my, oh my. Okay. Martia, good morning, sir.
Good
Again.
morning to you. Yeah.
Martia is, for those of you who don't know Martia, Martia is my main programmer. He's our director of programming, and technical director is his actual title. Martia is helping to develop a game for Iron Pillar Studios called Illyria. It's a wonderful game about potion creation and dungeons and so much more. And we're really pushing the boundaries of what we think a video game could possibly be. So I'm going to go ahead and interview him.
Yeah.
Okay, so from the top, Martia, what inspired you to begin your game development journey?
Right. So as a kid, I always wanted to create stuff. I always wanted to make things that people enjoy. And other than that, I always loved games, right?
Of course.
And so when I was 11 years old, I started making this game that was basically a replica of the first ever Mortal Kombat. And I showcased it to my class, and they just loved it so much. They actually started asking me if they could buy it. And I mean, that really inspired me to make games.
Oh,
And it's just such a cool thing making games and everything because it's a magic. In my opinion, it's a magical world because it's like you're controlling this fantasy character that can do everything. And that initial start with the Mortal Kombat game and my class reacting to it, how they did, was a very big inspiration for me.
now you
So
told me
yeah,
that was not in Unreal Engine, even though at the time Unreal Engine was something that you could use.
yeah.
What was that in?
I used Python and C++ until 3 years ago. Then I started actually using Unreal Engine.
Wow.
Unreal Engine 5 actually. Before that was Unreal Engine 4 and then 3 and then 2 and 1 of course. But I started with this thing called Pygame, which
PY game, right?
was yeah, Py
Yeah.
game. And it was it was so cool at the start because you could make all these windows appear inside the viewport of your computer, and then you could control this cube, and then you could make health bar and all these things. And then I found out that, oh, Pygame isn't good for game development. You should use C++. So I told myself, okay, let's use C++. I started using C++,
And
and
how did you
everything
start learning C++ when you were like
right
11
YouTube,
years old?
YouTube, YouTube,
That's
the
amazing.
best thing ever. YouTube is the best possible thing for you to start. Yes, if
Wow.
you want to make systems, if you want to make AAA systems that you can actually sell or work inside a company or a studio, yes, you have to buy courses or you have to have a huge amount of experience.
But you're going to
But
need
for just,
experience to be able to get any kind of value out of these courses.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so just jumping
So,
on YouTube and
yeah.
doing stuff. Okay.
I mean, but YouTube is a very good thing for just starting out. So when you start, I actually bought my first course 2 months ago, and that was for servers, right? That was
Hmm.
for servers, and then cloth simulation, and then other things that are basically the art side of the games, not programming side. So I learned everything through YouTube, at least the programming side of it. And then I started testing them out myself, and I understood what I needed to do and what I didn't.
Okay. That's a that's amazing. I'm super happy that you're so dedicated to all this. You're taking courses, you're doing all the right things, and I've been blown away by all the things that you're just able to do. And by the way, how is it that you're able to do anything that I ask you? You've never told me no from even the most ridiculous of requests. How do you go from me saying something stupid and then you making it look amazing? How do you do that?
Everything is possible inside the programming world. And not only inside that, inside the universe we live in, everything is possible.
Love the
Right? So
mindset.
I love black holes. Like I love black holes. And I actually did all these math about them and all these things because I just love them so much. And if that thing is possible, then everything is possible. I always tell myself, if okay, so is this system more complex than a black hole? If yes, then it cannot be made. If no, then yes, you can make it.
Okay, nice. Pushing the edge of physics there. Now you're talking about black holes as in like the
Yeah,
cosmic event with an event horizon and everything else.
yeah, basically. Yeah.
You know, I was very surprised when they said that Hawking radiation wasn't real because I absolutely believed that something that big and that massive had to be leaking something out. I was very
It's
surprised
not
about that.
real? Who said that? Who said that?
It's the current understanding in astrophysics, to my understanding.
Really? No, it must be real because if it
It
wasn't,
has to be.
here's the thing: if it wasn't, we have these nuclear reactors, and there is a slim chance that we can actually create all these black holes inside our nuclear reactors. And if Hawking radiation wasn't actually real, yes, there is a very small chance,
That
like
it's not
near
real?
zero, but there's still what?
There's a near zero chance that Hawking radiation is not real?
No, it is real. It is. It must be because if it wasn't, then first of all, small black holes could never disappear, and if by accident we created a black hole inside our nuclear reactors, then Earth would be gone, right? But that never happened because Hawking radiation must be real. And we have all of these physicists that are working on all of these, but we can't actually say if it's real or not. It's a theory because we can't test it out.
You know
So
all
it's
this
a
is going to get
theory.
cut, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Go ahead and finish your thought, though. We can talk about this for just a moment, but then we can get back.
Yeah, so the actual thing is that we can't test it out. The reason being is that, okay, we might have a theory like the Big Bang Theory, but we can't test it out because how can we actually confirm that this theory is real and
I
is
think you
actually a
just said it.
law?
Personally, I think you just said it. You said something about small black holes disappearing. I don't believe we've ever
Right.
seen a small black hole that's no longer there anymore. Now, that makes a lot of sense if you subscribe to the Big Bang Theory, in which case the small black hole is just gonna merge with another black hole that's gonna merge with another black hole, and then eventually they all merge back together. And I don't know if you're familiar with the big squeeze before the Big Bang.
Yeah, I know. I
Okay,
know. Yeah.
that all makes sense. And we happen to be in this iteration of reality. And then
Exactly.
everything
So
gets sucked
it's
up
basically
by the
some
black
form of
holes
loop. Yeah.
and then has to explode because it reaches critical mass, or at least enough, and then it explodes because it reaches critical mass.
Yeah.
That all makes sense as far as physics is concerned, right?
Yeah, but what doesn't make sense is I'm just going to say this, and let's go to the actual interview because this,
Okay.
yeah, if we're going to talk about this, it might take days to finish, right? Because it's such a big thing, right? But
Yeah, we're both
realistically,
nerds. We know this.
yeah, we do.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what happens is that the Big Bang Theory says, okay, before the universe, there was nothing, and then something came out of it, but that can't really work because zero cannot magically equal to one.
I
Zero is
agree.
always zero, right?
Yep.
So there must have been another universe that we came from. But if that's how it's going to work, it's going to be infinite amount of universes. And infinite amount of universes means that we could never reach the present, right? Because infinite doesn't have a present. It's a loop, so it doesn't really have a present, and that doesn't really make sense. So there must be a beginning, but we
I
really don't know what's
I hate that we have
the
to end it
beginning.
right here on this part because I have so much more to say about infinity.
Yeah,
Because there is a present in each infinity, and we could talk about. You're right. This is gonna take days. We've got to stop.
yeah,
Okay, time to get back to the task at hand.
yeah.
Let's go with. Can you tell me about the game we are working on now as if I had no idea what it was? I want to hear it from your side, and you tell me what project we're currently working on as if I was a layman.
Yeah. Solaria is this cool game that you have to go explore dungeons, find ingredients, and make your own elixirs. You can basically sell them, you can craft better elixirs from them, and it's basically a game about finding ingredients, making these elixirs, and then selling them. And it's basically a elixir crafting game, but so much more into it. We have combat systems, we have dungeons, we want we want the game to be a narrative driven game to a certain point, so it has its own story. It's basically that.
Yeah, you see, you tell it a lot better than I do because I'm trying to jump around with all these different things that we're trying to do, like Satisfactory, for instance. Uh,
Hmm.
Satisfactory is all about efficiency and getting that product in and out and in and out and in and out, doing the
Yeah.
Lord's work for the company that you work for. And then with this one,
Hmm.
because we're going to be having NPCs that you'll be able to hire and pay, and then level them as they're working with you, you can create an efficiency structure based on that. So I'm
Exactly.
like, as I'm telling people about these things, I get lost in the sauce while I'm trying to explain that, and it just
I mean, that's inside the details. So how you're going to say it, it's much better to say, okay, this game is basically so the thing that you're saying right now reminds me of idle games. You have this thing that you automate, and this automation gives you more money, and then you buy other automations. So basically, an idle game, but it's much bigger than that. So at the start, it might not be an ideal game, but as you progress and you unlock NPCs, it becomes an ideal game, right? So basically, something like Revolution Ideal, which it's a bit different from that. The basically the concept of them are different, but they're basically the same thing.
I could see that. I mean, the last thing I want it to be is uh, what's it, Egg Idol, whatever that
Yeah.
game was. I don't know. My son back when he was like 11, he got me playing that because he was playing it, and of course I've got to beat his score.
Yeah, so what you're saying is basically how they work, but of course that's a 2D game with nothing inside it but just the automation system, and
Yeah.
we don't want that.
No.
That's the reason that we're going to make it so much cooler, but at the core, it's basically that. It's automation that is basically gives you more money based on the things you currently have and based on the elixirs that you're making. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the idea. Is that the gameplay itself is so much more interesting than just sitting there and waiting for other people. I mean, there's going to be guilds to topple. There's going to be wars to win or lose, or choosing sides and
Yeah,
different timelines, multiple endings. This is not going to be a small game.
it's not going to be, yeah.
No, especially as a first game for an indie dev. This is going to be something impressive.
Yeah.
So you said that you started learning about game development when you were 11, or did you finish your
Around
first
11.
game? Okay.
Yeah, my first actual game that was my own idea. It was when I was 13. It was not a very good game, right? It was messy, terrible optimization, terrible things,
Well, you were 13.
and I what?
I said, well, you were 13. You got to give yourself a little bit of leeway.
Yeah, so but here's the thing. People really don't care how old are you, where you come from, what you do. They care about the product, right?
Ah,
If Yeah, that's the thing you gotta understand. So yes, maybe my father, maybe my mother might say, "Yeah, you're 13. You're like this is so good for a 13-year-old." But the person who's actually purchasing this for $10, even a dollar, they don't care about you. They care about the product they're actually
so
purchasing.
you were trying to make a
So
game for sale at 13.
yeah, and I actually did in
That's
my
impressive.
own country, and I made around $250 out of it.
Uzbekistan, for those
So
still paying attention here.
yeah, so it was a big amount of money for a 13-year-old at that age in that country. It's a reasonable amount,
How much
but
was the amount?
uh, it was $250.
Yeah, that's impressive for a 13-year-old.
In here, it's around 3 million zooms, and the average person gets around 5 to 7 million per month, and that's for like an actual person that works 9 to 5 and does everything. So yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, you'd said something earlier about using Python and such. I'm sure now that you're older, you're not using Python and C++. You're using Unreal Engine and some other tools for game dev. What are
Right.
all the tools that you are currently using to make these games?
Okay, so first for modeling and sculpting, Blender. Blender is a very good tool that
Hmm.
is open source and you can use it. And it's just such a good tool for creating 3D models. For simple photo editing, I'm not good at it, but I can, get the job done, remove the background, change the color and all these. I use Photoshop. Uh, and for actual game development, I use Unreal Engine. Now, why Unreal Engine? It's because Unreal Engine has all of these tools. So you have your sequencer that lets you create your own animations, your own cinematics, and then you have motion design. You can create motion design inside the engine,
Hmm.
right? So I'm actually learning that, and you can create so many cool things with that, which other engines and other tools really don't have. And you have to understand that Unreal Engine isn't just used for game development. It's used for movies as well, and that gives you so many things to work with. For example, Niagara systems and Niagara VFX.
Oh, we saw that with
That's
the
just
water in one of the videos we posted recently.
Yeah, basically that is just the simulation, right? That's a Niagara system that uses GPU for simulation. Now, yes, you can use CPU, but for the CPU part, it's better to use GPU for in-game VFX and CPU for UIs,
Yeah,
right?
consistent
So
on-screen
user
items.
interface. Yeah. So what's the difference? GPU uses your graphics card. CPU uses your CPU. But what GPU does is that it basically renders all the particles using your GPU, and that's so much better than using CPU inside your actual game. But for your user interface, you have to use CPU. Now, why not GPU? Because it's not a 3D object, it's an effect inside this 2D interface that must use your CPU. But you have to be very careful with it. Why? Because using CPU, there's actually a very good video from NVIDIA that tells you and shows you how CPUs and GPUs work. CPUs are much more detailed, and what they do is that the video shows you that okay, the CPU creates this smiley face in like 3 minutes, but the GPU creates Mona Lisa, paints Mona Lisa in like a second, right? But
Remind me to like after we're finished with this interview, remind me to post that video in the details of this video.
yeah, yeah, okay. So when you're using CPU, you can't render, you can't actually have a lot of particles. You can't have 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 particles, right? And why can't you? Because again, CPUs are much more detailed and they can't render so many stuff. And they're actually not used for rendering that often. So what happens is that if you have 10,000 particles using CPU, your FPS is going to go from 200
Tank.
to 30. That's horrible,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
So you have to create an effect that looks like 2,000 particles, but with only 10.
Yeah, we're gonna have to show that on screen right now. The difference between 10 particles and 2,000 particles, and how 10 particles can look like 2,000. I'll make sure to
Yeah,
have our editor put that in there.
yeah, yeah. I'll send you the video then.
Moving on just a little bit, give me an example of something that's been a challenge for you in game development.
Optimization.
Optimization. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest things to do.
Mhm.
Why? Because you have to be very careful. You might be testing your game inside your own computer, but your own computer isn't what the person who's actually playing the game is going to use. It's their own computer with their own hardware, with their own softwares and all that, and you have to optimize the game that fits all these hardwares. Now, with consoles, it's much easier because you know what console uses what, and it's just so easier because you don't have a 4070 GPU inside a PS5. They use their own GPUs
Right.
and CPUs. Because of that, it's much easier to optimize games for those uh, hardwares.
Not to
But for
mention
computers, they're not.
people will buy a console and they'll keep it for 7 8 years, and by then you've
Yeah,
already gotten
exactly.
to you skip 2 generations of GPUs.
Yeah, exactly. And so optimization, you have to understand that optimization has two parts: the programming part and the rendering part. When you're programming something, you have to programming efficiently. You have to understand, okay, this program can't run every frame. So an eventics, what they do is that they run every frame. So let's say you have 120 FPS. So 120 FPS, that same event tick is going to run 120 times every second. Now, by default, it's not going to do a lot. But when you're actually using it to do, let's say, two functions, and those two functions are very complex, that's 120 times. It's so bad, and when you're actually running the game, you'll understand that you don't need that function to run 120 times every second.
Yeah, that overwhelms
It's
the CPU and GPU really fast.
exactly. Now, that's mostly on the CPU part because it's on the programming side. But if you're doing something with, the assets or the UI, then yes, it's going to overwhelm your GPU as well,
Yeah.
which is horrible. Now, we have the middle ground. That is the CPU and the GPU. Now, what does that mean? That basically means the capture scene 2D. Basically, what you see when you open up your inventory and it's showcasing you the character, right? How do we do that? We have this other camera that is a capture scene 2D that uses this texture that updates it every frame, that makes it look like a video of your character.
Hmm.
Now, if you let that run 24/7 inside your game, every frame, it's going to be horrible. Why? Because you have two viewports instead of one. So your GPU is rendering two of your games. Right? That's just so bad. And you have to turn that on and off.
Now, is that how something like a mini map would work?
No. A minimap, well, it depends. If you want your minimap to be basically a video of your game, then yes. But a minimap is usually a texture with some other. Basically, it's a texture with just icons moving around. And it updates where the icon is inside the map, and it uses that vector to showcase it inside your uh, mini map and your actual map, which is another texture.
Okay.
But for your basically weapon showcases and all of those, you need that scene capture component.
Okay, I
So
just
you
wanted to
have to
double
turn
check
it
with that one.
up on. Yeah, you have to turn it on when you're actually looking inside the inventory and turn it off when you're not. And many programmers don't do that because they don't really care about it, and
They're just there for
it
the
just
paycheck.
makes. Yeah, exactly.
So we went from for the hardest challenging thing in programming that you do. So
Mhm.
let's go for what's the most fun thing. What do you enjoy the most when you're sitting there and you're trying to figure something out? And what is it? What is it that just gives you that satisfying feeling while you're creating something beautiful?
Yeah. When I'm creating this when I'm creating projects in games, I tend to look at other projects. Like, for example, let's say I'm making this UI that resembles God of War UI, right? Or let's say Legend of Zelda's UI. If I
Right.
can pull something similar to that with my own signature inside it, so it's basically that, but with my own style. That
Hmm.
is so satisfying. If I can create this combat system that looks like, for example, God of Wars or Elden Rings or Sekiro's or Assassin's Creed or something like that, and I can pull that off inside my own project with my own style, that is satisfying. And when you're learning new stuff, so let's say VFX, right? I learned how to do VFX around 3 4 months ago, and now that I can actually do it, it's so satisfying because I always looked at it. Oh God, this is so hard. It's so complex and complicated. I don't really know what's happening there. What is particle update? What is particle spawn? It's just so complicated. But when you actually start learning them and you understand them and you're actually implementing them inside your own game and people like it, it's so satisfying. So basically, learning new things, implementing them, and
Being able to show them off
replicating.
in your own way.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that does sound very, very satisfying. So, let's see. We've gone over your hardest challenge, and we've gone over the one thing that you enjoy the most in the games. What's just the sloshy thing aside from optimization? I mean, we've made a dead horse out of that already.
Yeah.
What what's something that just you're just sloshing through? Like when as you're developing a game, you just you feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, and there's just nothing you can do about it. But it's not killing you. It's just kind of sitting there being boring. What's
Yeah.
what's one of those things?
So adding new stuff to a data table,
Oh
right?
Lord.
So
Going back to the modular
So
stuff.
yeah, mod being so okay. So here's the thing: making a modular system at the start, it's so hard. It's so hard. It's challenging, and it takes a lot of time. But after that, everything becomes so much faster. But oh god, if you have like 100 things you want to add to that data table, Jesus helps you because you have to edit all the images, datas, values, and floats and integers, and then you have to write descriptions for all of them. You have to go figure out what their names should be, and you have to add all of them inside data tables, which they don't really have a very good UI. It basically gets the job done, but it doesn't look good. So it's it's very boring to do because you're basically copying something from somewhere and you're pasting in somewhere else. Now, yes, you can automate it with Python and C++. Many people use Python, which is the best thing here. You can automate it using Python, and I will do that, but currently I actually don't know how to do it. So I have to do it manually, which is hard. I have to go learn that as well.
It's not a black hole, so you can certainly learn it.
Yeah.
So, what what is it you would say makes the games that you've worked on different from the games that other people have worked on? What is your calling card to the world for your games?
Right, so I want to add my own unique signature to everything, right? So I want everything inside my game to be unique. Now, that is a very hard thing to do because we have so much games. It's like a music, right? You want to create this melody that sounds different from other melodies, but because we have so many of them, you can't really do that. But what you can do is you can kind of make it sound different with the same core, but you can have your own style integrated into it,
Yeah,
right?
there's a finite
So
amount of things that can be done, but they can be done differently, a nearly infinite amount of
exactly,
ways.
exactly. So you have the system. Okay, you have your armor. You kill the enemy, and the enemy drops its armor. Now, that's understandable. That's a very cool way of doing it. The player can go access the armor, and they can pick up the armor and equip it. Right now, that's a problem because basically all the games do it. Not all the games, but RPG games do it all the time. And if you're going to do it the same way that all of those games do it, then that system isn't really yours. It's basically a copy paste of another system. And I don't really like that. So what I do is that, okay, you have this enemy. This enemy is coming towards you. You can shoot its helmet with, let's say, your bow and arrow. And you can knock its helmet off.
Yeah.
And then you can go pick its helmet and equip it. So you can make its helmet your own. And the enemy can do the same to you. So you have this engaging system, engaging mechanic that other games don't really use, but it's actually a very simple thing to use it, right? So you can program the AI to always be looking for nearby armor of type helmet, and you can call that function whenever the enemy loses its helmet, right?
As long
So
as they have time. I mean, they're not gonna. Obviously, an AI is not gonna just pass up an attack on you or a block from you from an incoming attack from you just to go down and pick up a helmet. Well, I mean, I
yeah,
can't say obviously
but
because there could be games that do that.
I mean, here's the thing, right? You can actually make that same system, but you have to make it fun. If you want to make a system, you have to make it fun. That's basically the rule you have to always have for yourself. If this is the system, it looks cool on paper, it has to be fun and look cool inside the game as well. But
Absolutely.
how you can do that, right? So how you can do that system is that, okay, let's say that you have multiple enemies. Now, you can have the enemies go pick up the armor when it's not their turn to attack. So you have four different enemies. All of them attack you individually, and you can have this timer, or you can use a token system that the Doom games use, that says that, okay, this is your character, this is your enemy, you have to go fight it, but you have to check first that, okay, my attack does 5 tokens. Does the enemy I'm going to attack have 5 tokens? If yes, then go attack it. If no, don't. Do something else. Let other enemies that can attack it attack it. So you can have that big enemy, for example, the Dragon Knight, attack you, and then when it's not attacking you, so what it does currently, it patrols around the character. It basically strays around the character. And what we can do is that when it's doing that, we can have a random timer or a random event that triggers the helmet picking up system and mechanically, right? We can have that. But again, that's like a unique thing you have to add, or you can knock other weapons. So here's the thing: Red Dead Redemption did the same thing with hats and other guns. So you could shoot this gun out of the enemy's hand, and you could go pick it up, or you could not, and your enemy picks it up after a time. You can have that, or your enemy actually uses another weapon, right? So we can basically do the same with our own unique signature.
Okay, I like that. I like everything about that idea. The way that Red Dead did it, I was a big fan of, and throwing something like that with our own twist on it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Moving right along, you've been programming now for years.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you've got a future ahead of you. It's bright. Everyone knows that. Everyone that knows you knows that. All the people now that have stayed this long in this interview know that. What are your future plans as a game developer?
What I want to do currently is that first, I'm working on this project. So currently, I want this project to look as good as it can. So currently, I'll be focusing on this project, and I'll be learning things. What things? I want to learn 3D stuff. I want to learn design as well. So not only UI design or VFX design, but actually environment design and
Which
3D
we're
design,
learning is
like
very difficult.
right, exactly. And that's the reason that I want to learn. I want to learn how to do sound effects. I want to learn
Mhm.
how to make music. I want to learn how to, mix other sounds together. You can have, okay, this master sound that uses all these sounds to create this cool sound effect. And currently, for the next 6 months, I just want to focus on the project, get the pre-alpha and the alpha out, and learn these things. Currently, I'm going to do that. But I can't say that, okay, 5 years from now, I'm going to do this and that and that. Why? Because, first of all, so many things are changing inside the game development world. So many things are changing. And let's say that I wanted to, for example, do this project, or I wanted to do this, right?
Yeah.
That might not happen because of so many variables that are changing every second. But after this, I hope that after this project, we can stick together and make our own kind of studio. Now, yes, we have our own studio, but I'm thinking something like Ubisoft, Activision, a Rockstar, something like we can start something like this and actually developing games that are AAA with huge amount of funds.
Why do you think it took me months to figure out a name? Because the name was supposed to be worth it. That's exactly
Exactly.
what I
Yeah.
want. And also, breaking the fourth wall here, just talking to the audience now, did you guys hear the amount of exuberance in his voice? That was absolutely insane. You sound so excited, and I love every bit of it. It just it fills my heart with joy knowing that I have someone like you on my team. And because you
That's really
you
great to hear. Yeah.
you are you are so terribly indispensable, and you haven't been doing this for the longest amount of time, but you are easily the best programmer that I've ever found personally, working for Iron Pillar Studios. It's been wonderful working with you. What advice would someone like you, who's got a job in game dev, who's built games, who's made money on games,
Mhm.
what advice would you give to someone who wants to start making a game?
If you're just beginning, don't go so big, right? Make something very simple, like how I did. Make the first Mortal Kombat. It's a very simple system. Or make something like that. Make a puzzle game. Of course, puzzle games can be very complex, but make something simple. Test out the engine, see how it works. And then, once you're much more comfortable, think about the system you're going to make. Think, okay, I want to make this system.
When you say system, you
How
got
am
to
I going
explain
to
that to
make it?
people because they may not understand what you mean by that.
Yeah. So let's say you want to create a combat system, right? How am I going to make this combat system? Think about it. You can, just start doing it, making everything, and don't really plan anything and just doing it. But in the long run, that doesn't really work out great because you just made something without actually thinking about it. And if you're working with a team, they don't know what you did, right? So think about it. Think, okay, I want to make this. How should I make it? Should I, for example, do it in a modular way, or it's simple enough that it doesn't require a modular system?
Modular, for the record.
Exactly, modular, yeah, modular. Modular system, right? So if it's simple enough, don't build the modular system. Make variables readable. Make your code readable for other people and make comments inside the actual engine. It doesn't matter if you're using C++, Python, blueprints. You can make basically notes about all these systems. You can say, okay, this part of the mechanic, this part of the system is related to that. And when you're coming back to that same mechanic and that same system, you don't have to go search for for that specific part because you commented it and you know where it is because it's basically there. You can just open up the blueprint, open up the code, and you can see it. Do that. Just first go simple, then think about what you're going to make, think about how you're going to make it, and the most important part, never give up. Never give up. Because if you give up, then you didn't only waste your own time, you wasted all the things you've done.
There's no sense in
And
gaining experience and not being able to use it.
there's just one other thing. Don't really go and show your projects to everyone, right? So let's say you're making this project, you're relatively new. Don't go show it to a person that can discourage you from making the game. Don't go
That's a
show it to someone who says,
great
okay,
thing to
this
say.
is a very bad system, right? You don't have to prove that you're good. You have to prove to yourself that you're good. That's the most important part.
That is an excellent piece of advice. That's an excellent point. I'm super happy that you brought that up. You're absolutely right. I tell very few people that I own a video game studio. Maybe 4 or 5 people know in the world, aside from
Yeah.
all of you guys.
Hmm.
No one needs to know these kinds of things. I've never done this before. I've never made a video game. I've never attempted to, well, except for the one time that I failed. But nobody really knew about that one either. So it wasn't that big of
Hmm.
a deal when I did happen to fail. So I didn't get discouraged because I failed. I
Hmm.
actually got encouraged and got lucky. A little bit of luck does go a whole long way. That I got to meet Martia, and then I got to meet Jay, and now we're working on this beautiful project as them as my directors and me helping with the story and playthroughs and such. It's been a wonderful ride, and I've learned so much by just doing so much more than that. I've learned so much more than I could have even if I was just doing YouTube stuff. Experience is certainly the way to go, and the only way to do it, or the only way to get experience, is to just do it.
Exactly.
Well, I feel like that's a pretty good way to end this one. And like we were saying right at the top of this, man, we recorded for like 25 minutes, and we got so far down the list of questions that I had for you. But we never ended up actually finishing them before, and I'm kind of happy we got a second go through because this was definitely a better interview than the first one.
Yeah, it was.
Well, what a hell of a way to land a plane.
Yeah.
All right, if you guys want to come and hang out with us, we have a whole Discord. It's going to be linked in the description. We have a website. It's still under construction. We're still in pre-alpha at this point. This is what is this? This is March 17th, 2026. We'd love to see you guys there. We do listen to everyone's comments. We'll definitely take them into consideration. Every single comment. We have the time for it. We're indie. We can do these kinds of things. It may or may not
Yeah.
affect the way that the game plays, but we will listen to it. We will talk about it. We will think about it, and it may make its way into our game. Please come on over, and hopefully we can all work together and talk together and figure things out, and you can answer some of our polls, and we would love to have you. Say bye, Martia.
Yep. Goodbye, Phil.
See you guys.